Hello there AppSpy viewers, my name's Peter Willington and I have got a hands-on video for you. This time it is with Magic 2015 Duels of the Planeswalkers. Now this is an iPad only game and it's also coming out at some point on Android tablets as well, but it's a tablet game. It's also out on consoles, PCs, that sort of thing. And it's a card game, as you can probably imagine. So what we're going to do is we're going to play this card. So it's the card game, really. It's the collectible card game. It is played the world over. It is a legendary CCG. It is, you know, it is just the most popular collectible card game there is out there, and this is the digital version. Oh, that is a foil. Whoa, Feral Hydra looks really cool. Okay, I'm going to continue there. This is the digital version, and for what it's worth, I think it's pretty good. We've covered this quite extensively actually here on AppSpy.com, but I just wanted to run you through the basics of how the actual game plays, give you some information on how everything works. So at the start of your turn you can play land cards, and land cards essentially give you magic points, mana, and mana allows you to bring different creatures into play. So for example, I'm going to bring in, what shall I bring in? Jade Mage. Let's bring Jade Mage into play. So the Jade Mage, as you can see, costs, if we double tap it there, top right, it says that it's going to cost me 1 green mana, so that's 1 green land, and 1 mana of any kind, so that's mana from a land of any type, basically. So I'm going to put that into play. It's going to cost 2, and there you'll see I've tapped certain lands. I could pick specifically which lands I want to tap if I wanted to, but I haven't on this occasion. So now I have the opportunity to attack with everything that I have, and if I wanted to do that, I could totally do that, but for the time being I'm going to skip the attack. Sometimes you don't want to attack, and in fact quite often you don't want to attack, especially if you're playing defensively, if you're a defensive type of player. Now, I will give you a caveat as we're sort of setting up this game. This is very early into the game. I'm into the second chapter at the moment, and this is probably about as much Magic as I've ever played. I've got a deck of my own, which was very kindly given to me by the Hasbro people, which was very nice of them. But obviously, massive issues there with journalistic integrity. But I dabbled around with that just to kind of see what the game is actually like to play. And I'm going to skip the attack again. And I played a little bit of that, but this is definitely, this Magic 2015 Duels of the Planeswalkers hands-on is definitely the most Magic that I've played thus far. Like I say, I'm into the second chapter. I've done the tutorial. There's a very well put together tutorial that teaches you exactly everything you need to know about how to play the game, and you really do need to know a fair amount about how the game works. It is a relatively simple game, but it's the additional rules that each card comes with that makes it interesting and complicated. So let's go with what should we go with? Well, we should probably play let's bring Primal Hunt Beast in. And you'll see that at the bottom left, you know, a whole bunch of timers go past, and that gives you a little bit of time to stop the timers and play instants if you want to, and we'll talk about them in just a moment. Or for your opponent to do exactly the same thing. Advocate of the Beast. So we're gonna. This is an example of a special rule. So we'll see that this character here, Elf Shaman, is an Advocate of the Beast, and therefore they get to add a +1/+1 counter to a creature. So I'm going to do that to this creature. So at the bottom right you'll also see 3 and 3. So attacking is on the left, health points are on the right. So if I was to, let's put this one back, and we're going to say, yeah, that's the one that we want to give the boost to. So now they have, instead of 3 and 3, they now have 4 and 4 because I'm an Advocate of the Beast. So that's a special rule. The game plays out very simply. There is laying down cards, you know, tapping lands, going into combat and resolving the game, but it is the special functions on the cards, the special descriptions, that kind of add flavour to the game and make it complex and make it interesting, really, make it the game that has ensured that it's kind of been around for years and years and years and years and years. This game's from the 90s, by the way, I believe. Okay, so I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We are going to play Seraph of the Masses, or am I? No, I'm not, actually. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tap on this, because this is another special move, special ability that this card can play. Put a 1/1 green sapling creature token into the battlefield. So if I do that, I'm activating that, and it taps lands, as you see there, which mean the tapping essentially means that they turn and they can't be used again. And I've added another creature. So what I could do, if I wanted, I could play very defensively and keep playing that, like keep playing with that card and keep adding these. It's very light, very kind of nothing sapling creatures. But if I, survive for 10 turns or so, however, I'll have 10 of these potentially, and that will go to defeat my opponent, who in the top right, that's their profile picture, has 20 points of health. So what I'm going to do now is, I think I'm going to play an instant. Now, an instant can be played at any time, pretty much, and the instant just adds either has an effect on the play, or changes the way the play happens, or adds characters, cards to the battlefield, like I just did. Once you've used a card, it goes into your graveyard, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's completely dead. You can bring back cards, and different decks will have different abilities. For example, the black deck is very much interested in bringing cards back from the dead. Green ones, which I like to play with, are all about creating huge creatures. So I'm going to attack with everything I have. There's an attack all button there, but I could do it individually if I wanted, just by tapping and holding. And I'm going to attack. So let's see what my opponent has in store for me. And while the opponent is having a think, I'm going to tell you that this game is pretty good. I like the presentation. It's not as flashy as Hearthstone, which I think it's now going to be compared to, because Hearthstone's out, this is 30-year Magic's gone up against it, and it's not as flashy, effectively. It's not as explosive and dynamic and so forth. But it is very representative of the card game of Magic, the real physical card game of Magic, and I think that that really is what fans are going to be looking for. So I quite like it, it's quite slick. One thing I would say is that the turns can take quite a while, and while that's okay if you're like sat on a train journey and you've got 25 minutes to kill, and it's a perfect way to play Magic the Gathering on a train journey, and you don't want to bring your cards because who wants to do that? You've got to get a table seat and everything. If you're playing on your tablet, that's cool, but if you're trying to play this for like 2 or 3 minute bursts, probably not going to happen. Hydro Attack is making choices. So that's probably not, if you want this for quick pick up and play gameplay, you're probably not in luck. And I suppose that's why it's a tablet game and rather than a mobile game, because when you've got your tablet, you've probably got a few more minutes to play than when you whip out your phone and play Angry Birds. So that is kind of like how the game moves forward. I think if you're a Magic fan, you know exactly what you're in for. It's Magic. And if you're not a Magic fan, then you've got kind of an idea of how it is. It is complicated. There are additional rules that you have to learn, but that kind of gives you a good example of how it all works. Now, what I'm doing is I'm pausing out of this, and I'm going to either... can I exit out of this? No. Do you know what? I'm going to concede the duel, even though I don't really mean it, but I'm going to concede the duel there. So now we're going to a short loading screen, very short in fact. It loads up pretty quickly, it's quite snazzy. There are a whole bunch more areas for me to go through. I've paid to unlock Theros. They're £1.99, I think that's $2.49, something like that in US dollars per chapter, or you can buy all of these for £6.99. I'm just kind of working my way through it at the moment. Innistrad is completely free, so if you've got an iPad, you can download it, give it a go, see what it's like, and the tutorial is free as well. Practice Duels tutorials, there we are. So that's kind of what's included. You can pick a profile icon, bottom right, that's mine, because it looks pretty dope. Multiplayer. So, multiplayer is obviously against other players. That's not available at the moment. I don't know why. We'll try and find out why for you. But that is unlocked when you make a purchase of a chapter, I believe. And you've also got to finish the Innistrad campaign. There is a whole bunch of stuff in the shop. A whole bunch of stuff chapters, boosters, card collections, and foils. Foils just make your cards look, you know, lovely. But boosters give you extra cards, that sort of thing. You do earn extra cards as you play through the game. There's lots of different decks, there's a card collection, all of this good stuff that you're going to want. But the cool thing, I think you should see, is in decks. So what we can do if we want is we can create a deck, or we can modify a deck. We've got Zero's deck here, this is my deck, and I prefer white and green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. I'm going to edit the deck. I can clone it, I can delete it, I can do all sorts of stuff. I can change the front cover of the deck if I wanted. You know, stuff that really gives you a sense of ownership. And just as it loads up, we will see that at the top we've got cards that aren't in play. And at the bottom we've got cards that are in play, and they all go on this little carousel. I've unlocked a whole bunch of different cards. Now if I wanted to change out my my set, I absolutely could. I can bring in Artful Dodge, for example. I can bring that in. I've now got too many cards, as indicated by the red number, so if I wanted to change out one, I would change out... Well, I wouldn't actually include Artful Dodge, because that's a blue card, and I don't have any blue land, so I wouldn't be able to play it. But if I wanted to bring in, let's say, another Angelic Effect, then I can add that. I've now got two, as indicated at the bottom of the card there. And I'm going to swap it out for, actually, this rather good card, which is Triplicate Spirits. So now I've got 36 cards in my deck. I'm going to tap here. So this is my mana curve, well, I mean, this is actually loads of extra information, but the really cool thing is on the right and on the left. On the right is your mana curve. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus. That kind of, those numbers indicate how much mana you would need to field a card, and then the numbers above them represent how many cards you have that are at that level. So most of my deck, needs 2 or maybe 3, potentially 4 mana to actually play. So I'm running a risky early game, but I come into my own in the middle of the game. If I wanted, I could have lots of 4, 5, and 6 cards. I would be absolutely decimated in the early game, hope to like hold on, and then have enough mana producing lands that at the end of the game I'm completely unstoppable. On the left, you see speed, strength, control, and synergy. This is these are kind of marked out of 5 stars, and they show you exactly like what sort of effects your deck has. And up here, I can sort through different cards of different colours and types. I can search by rarity. That's the least rare. This is the most rare. I have none of those at the moment. There we are. That's my rarest card. I've got Charmbreaker Devils. There we are. So I'm about, I would say about 40 minutes into the game. I'm not brilliant at it, which is probably why it's taken me 40 minutes, maybe 60 minutes actually. But I'm enjoying what I've played so far. It is an expensive game, in so much as each chapter is $1.99. They do take a while to play through, and you can unlock them as a big bundle if you want to. But you know, £7 is a premium. That's a premium title in my eyes. And there are extra cards and bits and pieces that you can purchase on top of this. I think if you're a Magic fan, you should not hesitate to go and get this, because it is excellent, and you should definitely download the free version that is out there at the moment, because, you know, I mean, why on earth not, right? Give it a go, see if you like it. Oh, yeah, I should also say there are 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player duels as well in this game. Let's go with, yeah, we'll do that, start the duel. If you aren't, then I would still suggest that you go and check it out, because if you aren't a fan of Magic, then it's a great opportunity to go and see if you are, like if you've never played it before. And if you're not a big fan of it, then it might be worth checking out anyway, just because it is a curious... let's keep that hand. It is a curious edition, and it'll be cool to kind of see how it goes up against something like Hearthstone. And obviously only in the next few months will kind of prove whether or not Magic's still got the chops to hold up to Blizzard's free-to-play card game. But I think this version's pretty good. basically. So let me know if you're a Magic fan in the comments. This was a hands-on with Magic 2015 Duels of the Planeswalkers. It's available now on iPad and will be coming to Android fairly soon. This is Peter with AppSpy.com. We review, you decide.